Welcome back to the Wheelers Podcast. How you guys doing, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, we back and we're here. Yeah. So tonight's show, God damn, I reversed this shit. This is what it's supposed to be called. Let me rename the show real quick. This is supposed to be called "Let's Talk About Sex" show. That's the name of the show tonight. So let me go to profile and change that real quick because I did that show earlier, and I do agree with that statement. Seeing women do need to be protected, but we got to change that show. Yeah, that's right. All right, here we go. All right, we got the title fixed. So let's get into it. So we're gonna talk about it. I like to give little interludes because sex is extremely important. Sex is very powerful, and also it changes the tides and tones of the world. It's used to manipulate. It's used to penetrate societies. So let's get into it. It's called sex education. First of all, sex education, we used to learn in school. They used to teach it in ninth grade, 10th grade. It was levels to it. Talked about protection and talk about not having babies. And they lured you into Planned Parenthood and taught you how to get abortions and all of these type of things. And they called it sex education. Um, you know, the way I grew up, it was pretty transparent. It was appropriate timing. But we discussed sex in the house. We discussed scenarios. We discussed, what would you do if you got a girl pregnant and things of this nature. And my mother was pretty transparent because she allowed me to communicate with her in ways that were applicable and comfortable for me in order for me to communicate with her because we had a great relationship because I was a young kid and who else to trust but mama? And mama gonna tell you the truth about a lot of things. So my sex education came from home mostly. And you have to make sure your children are comfortable with you about communicating about sex and intricate things because you should gradually be communicating with them through time about those relationships that they're going to have and they're coming. So you always want to be careful with how you communicate with your kid when you start fathers, if you start telling your little girls about boys being nasty and stuff like that, be careful because you don't want them to become. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to judge anybody in their relationships with their children. That's not what this show is about. So I'm just saying, sex gradually and discussing sex, to an appropriate level with your child is extremely important because you don't ever want that to be such a surprise to them. You don't ever want it to hit them at one time. And you also want to, like I say, give them awareness about what these principles are because uh, these are very personal things when it comes to people and their children. But you got to protect your children because some people in this world, as we're discovering how sex is being extremely uh, perverted part of some people's psyche as well. We're going to get into that. But that leads us to our next our next what moment, and that is sex as a weapon. See, this is extremely intricate because you got to understand if you have a babysitter, if you have a family member, relatives, studying people's behavior is a very, very important thing. It is. And we're going to go through the levels of it because this is in home. This is what happens in some people's homes. And you have to be aware because you want to know people's parents when they're hanging around your children. You want to even understand who people are before you even lay with that person. But a lot of that laying with each other is going a lot around. It's very loose based right now. A lot of people are into this porn. A lot of people are into exotic shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've never seen sexuality this, inflated and implosive across the world, really. Everything is centered around sex, and so you have to educate yourselves as well as be educate yourself about other people. Especially when a lot of people are mixing across cultures and not thinking a whole lot about sex or being so promiscuous that sex has been downgraded as far as something that's supposed to be cherished. Yeah, because of a lot of promiscuity, lack of the family. It's a very and the thing is, a lot of people would want to always try to place that or put that on a specific type of culture when it exists in every single solitary culture. Yeah. Even the divided cultures here in America, it exists right here. You know, it's just a lot of things that people don't discuss because they keep them in house. They keep these things covered up. They keep these things culturally hidden, I would say. But one thing they love to do is highlight these abnormalities and just slap it on the blacks. Yeah. So sex is always used as a weapon. It's always used as a weapon in this culture because of how simply what can you benefit from wealth? What can you benefit from cultural norms, or what you can create or manipulate and propagate cultural norms, right? Yeah, you can do that easily. All you got to do is have the money, the backing to push it, and a couple of people to sell it that are known to make it popular. And that's like the running theme of how to create and keep wealth amongst the wealthy because all they do is groom their children right up through these processes. So you become into a gatekeeping culture of sexual prowess. It happens in Nickelodeon. It happens bringing these children up through these child networks. And they're just now telling us um, 20 and 30 years later, when these kids have been through pure hell, torture, and trauma. And even in these even in these institutions, uh, man, I hate to say it, but even Oprah had a school where they was having sexual molestation going on with the nuns and the little girls. So it's really weird how you got all of this sexual deviance tied to Hollywood, and some people understand and know that they'll give up something, or is it their soul you're giving up for your wildest dreams, your wildest money, all the gold that you get? But you understand that comes with a price, and when they come, hey, it's time to pay. Wait a minute. What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm not ready. I didn't ask you if you were ready. Time to pay that price. You best believe you gotta you gotta get what you got. It's done. It's over for you. That's what it is. So it's a hell of a game they play in them, and in that world. That world that I have no parts of, but it has such influence globally because everybody wants to be a part of that society, the high society. Everybody wants to be a superstar and all of these things. And then you see a lot of people are able to amalgamate and fit in because they have been introduced, grew up into those industries. So they're quite comfortable with the exploitations, and they've seen a lot and they know how to keep their mouth shut. So they're not akin to taking in outsiders too much because some people that they have done that or offered into that, you don't see them no more. They go on and become a person that does like some people run to the church, which is just as bad. And then some people run to go do their independent thing, work with artists, write music, and do all kind of stuff. But all of this is driven by what the sexual exploitations are about, and how it scares the shit out of people. Yeah, these things are done ritualistically. That scares the shit out of anybody because it does have to do with the tampering and the tapping on your soul. You're gonna remember those times, those things, and those exchanges because you're exchanging uh, fluidly with people that are demonic, so to speak. So you have to be extremely careful with sex as a weapon because sexual prowess and sexual powers, and also, they make jokes about it, even in movies like Harlem Nights. When Red Fox was like, "You better watch that girl; she'll put a root on you." He's talking about when Jasmine Guy was playing what's her name? Dominique LaRue. Yeah, she's playing Dominique LaRue. So Eddie Murphy was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna tap that ass or whatever." But she's like, "Yeah, them Creole girl, Red Fox was one of them Creole girls, boy, they'll put a root on you." You know what I'm saying? So that shit was funny, but it was a joke. But that was not a joke in the South. That was a true statement that Red Fox was making because down in Louisiana, down in where I'm from in Florida, things like that, those type of working with magic and working with the elements is still is and has always been very prevalent. That's how you know when you're from the bush and when you're from the deep South. I would consider, in 1980, I would consider Pensacola sort of a place of being, in the outskirts. You got Atmore, Alabama, Walnut Hill. You got Greenville, Alabama, where my folks from. You got Choctaw County. You got Flemington. You got Butler. You got Butler Springs. You got uh what you play? You got man, everything green, Evergreen. All them places down there. They real remote. And Gospel Temple was my grandmother's first church. It was on a dirt road. The road wasn't even paved, called Gospel Temple. So if you ever seen those movies where you got the people in the community and they fellowship at the church on a country dirt road, that's how I grew up to the age about like maybe 10 years old until we moved to Columbus, Georgia. But even Columbus, Georgia was a small town, small city at the time, and it now has it's quadrupled or quadrupled in pride in people. Yeah, it's probably quadrupled in people and size and things of that nature. So a lot of people have moved down south. A lot of industry has come here, and this place has changed dramatically and drastically, simply because of location, resources, and access to rivers and industry. And we know, as far as the black aboriginals that grew up down here, they tell us, you got a lot of black boule, you got a lot of boule class, the AKAs, the excuse me, you have the deltas, a lot of like Maryland, all the way through Alabama to Texas, and all the Bible Belt, Tennessee, Mississippi, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina. They real big in this HBCU thing, and that's another uh, as far as like black people where we're sexually exploited in those type of places, even in college. So it's very important to know these things and know how to defend yourself because these are the stages of how these things really actually go. Where sex is a part of every single fabric of culture, every single fabric of the way, especially young people think. Hell, we've been young too. I've been young before, and I still think about sex. Of course, I do. But there are also some wonderful things. But we got to. This is a long um, enlightener, a long whip moment, I would say, because it is extremely important to cover a lot of ground when you're talking about sex as a weapon. People have diseases that they don't, that are undisclosed or that they're masking. You know what I'm saying? You got people that you don't know, but they won't disclose because they're dishonest about their health, and that puts your health in danger. So be mindful out here, man. We have to get back to a place where sex is enjoyable and free. But if you think about the origins of how things are disgusting and filthy, it's because of, again, is how people is who you mate with and how you mate or how you perform sexual acts. You know what I mean? So sexual acts are not meant for it's meant for whatever the hell you want it to be meant for, to be quite honest with you. Can't nobody tell you that it's not. But I will tell you, from my perspective, you're really kind of meant to, cherish yourself a bit more, take a bit more accountability because you don't want to be the one that's distributing that's an offense, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's a crime. I think that's it's a crime to spread sexually transmitted diseases to people. Very aware sex is a weapon when it comes to even the destruction of whole civilizations and societies. Again, I would go back to a book I love to share, and that's Medical Apartheid. I read this a lot. Medical Apartheid, sexually transmitted diseases, providing ill medical medical assistance when it comes to transmitted diseases. Those are also weapons. Even when you have slept with a person and been irresponsible, what if you go to the doctor and you're illy treated, you're mistreated or misdiagnosed, and you're being treated or something like that? You wind up having to get a hysterectomy or something bad when you're young, and you can never have kids. It's diseases that you can get that can really shut down a woman's female canal, her uterus, blockages, set blockages in order for her to not even produce children. So we have to be more accountable. People, there are people that are still good, still deserve to live a decent life as they would prefer to live or want to live, or still want children and have a mother and a father in a home. There's people that still have that desire, and I think that desire has been lost because people have lost the ability to even raise kids, to even want kids. It's so busy, or they're even afraid to even bring kids into this world simply because of sex, the desire of sex, and the ability for people to even make sex that's something so sacred, make it so perverted. So there are opposing ends to the spiritual war and battle with the body and with sex. So let's get to the next book moment. Political sex. Yeah. Politicians, sexual favors, exploits. Look at our administration. It's like the whole Epstein cabinet and advisory team is in the Epstein files, or had some strong, very extreme dealings with Jeffrey Epstein. From both sides of the equation. And even if you look back at Pizzagate, this is all has ties to those elements as well that were extremely hush hushed about. Those things go together. When it's all political, when they're all running in the same circles, when they all have the same order of operations, and then they tell you every time Republicans, they have a Republican convention, they say grinder breaks. So you already know what those dudes doing when you got families at home and you want to go over there and boy love booty sex with men. That's craziness, but that's political. That's the group of people that they run with. That's who you have. And, but these things are nothing new. Again, they started setting tone about 25, 30 years ago with the Tea Party. This was under George W. Bush. George W. Bush even spoke out the other day about his the years of deceit, the years of basic destruction within the internal parties. The taking advantage of, the American people. But they've been doing that for quite some time, even since the 1800s. Remember, this is a corporation. So ran as a corporation, operated as a corporation, and these people have bought in as a corporation, which is why all of our people that go into Congress, they end up rich as hell. And the salaries don't pay more than an engineer. A good one at that. I would know. I'm an engineer. So let's get to the next book moment, because that's just disgusting it within itself as far as this whole political cesspool of sycophants because this is I wonder who's going to go to prison. I want to know who's going to go to jail for real. I wonder if we're going to accept them thinking that this can be written under the rug. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, something different. All right. So who's going to prison? After all of this, you got MGT saying she done. She's sick of this shit. She done with the whole. She has a lot of insider influence, but it's a little too late to kind of like all the shit you did to contribute to this orchestration. You had a lot of dues you put in, and you ain't done enough to get out of what you done did either. So on with that. You got all of them flipping, and I mean, it should. I mean, the whole damn Congress should be on board with getting rid of. You see other people moving around in the world, losing titles, losing jobs, resigning all over the place. Get out, I mean, and it's not just white men and women. There are other kinds of people too, but damn, it's women too. You heard about the one with the lady that called Jeffrey Daddy? Oh, Uncle Jeffrey. Man, whew. You got you got old girl Charlie Kirk's wife, Erica Kirk is out here sending inappropriate messages to 15-year-olds. Y'all just go look this stuff up. It's crazy. They have these alternate, complete alternate lives. They this corporation that they see America as. They just feed you a bunch of uh shit, you know, just to make you feel a part of who they are. Like politicians became extremely popular and started wanting the latest fashion. Then it became a fashion show in Congress. They wanted more money. They wanted to be superstars. They started hanging out with stars. See with Barack Obama, you know what I'm saying, with Puffy. Y'all was at them Diddy parties too. This is Diddy was low level to the shit they really, really do. You know. They got Kevin Hart out here saying wild shit, uh, babies and lettuce. These people are all this is a web wound very deep. This is a web wound very, very deep. I'm telling you. Shit's crazy. So then you got job sex. Some people are sexual workers. Some people shit. Yeah, some people are really, just they partake in the oldest profession. The oldest profession on the planet is selling pussy. So that's what they partake in. I'm not I'm not frowning on it. I'm just saying, to each his own. But that's essentially what OnlyFans is. Meetups, uh, and every single solitary app that is possibly used to exploit themselves for sex. And these the same girls that when they bad now. I mean, you got girls that have turned from rap stars to high paid prostitutes. Yeah, it's a ton of them. It's a lot of them. They have partake into these exploits. Shit, man. I mean, as good as something look, they can probably smell like a sewer or have participated in things that involve things that go in a sewer, like being shitted on is just not okay. That's grotesque. I don't damn, can you wash shit off? Man, but they put, the rappers, all of these people that are involved in these extremely sexually driven environments. But you got to understand, these people have to sign up for this shit. Some of these people, it's fulfilling their wildest dreams. More drugs, more sex, more passing the fuck out. I don't know. That's what they call enjoying themselves, I guess. But they do sign up for it. And it's a hell of a lot of people that love their lifestyle. Just is. It's just how far you want to take it. And some people will take it as far as they want to, as far as what they feel like what's enjoyable. So I'm not saying, being a freak or being freaky is awful. No, it's great. Shit. Everybody, got a little freak in them. You should partake, you know. I love women, but, some people, I have limits. I just do. I have my limits. I have my boundaries. But that doesn't mean I don't know how to enjoy myself. Trust and understand. But it's not about me. It's not about any of that. This is about sexual education, but we are talking sex. So, but let's go with yeah, job sex. You ever heard of don't shit where you eat? Just never. just don't do it. People that have these work husbands and all of this work wives and oh man, come on, man. Keep it professional. It's pretty that's a pretty dangerous game to play. It's pretty dangerous. The shit where you eat, you know. Um to each his own. It's unprofessional. Um it can jeopardize a lot. It can jeopardize a whole lot, sleeping with someone that you work with. That's real sticky. My advice is just stay away from that type of play. It's never gonna serve each and it's never gonna serve anybody well. Not doing no shit like that. Oh, that's too bold. It's too uh man, that's hard up. That's how I see that shit. Be honest with you, that's just hard up. There's something wrong with that anyway. It's that's not gonna end bad and you're gonna lose your careers. And I've seen it time and time again. It happens in the corporate world. It happens. It does happen in the corporate world where people get caught sleeping with each other, and it's okay for a while until something happens, and then basically they're just drawing up the paperwork anyway, especially on executive levels. Extremely unprofessional. So that's some hard up shit to be sleeping with someone that you work with. That's just the most trifling shit you can do. You really should do better with your life. Come on, we you just the next whip moment. Let's talk about the one that everybody want to discuss: gutter sex. Gutter sex is an awful lot of things. It's how people get off. You know, this is where we discuss people that look at little children, people that fantasize over sick, twisted, demented type of elements of that that shouldn't even go on in your adult brain. But that goes to show you there's a very, very sick problem with people in their anatomy, how they were raised, what type of these people need to be studied because there's no way you can even be age appropriately attracted to someone that is just not attractive. They haven't even developed. It's crazy. That's more than sick. Understand. Understand me and understand me well. Any man that ever makes a comment about a child should be evaluated and interrogated and also investigated continuously. That's just out of that's completely outside of the realms of being human. Let's just be clear. So the gutter is where people find their darkest, most twisted, disgusting fantasies. And it's a lot of people that the FBI, they have them by name. They should go after these people. But these people have a lot of money. They got a lot of money. And they influence a lot of people. And they hide a lot of things. They even have employees that people will sell their children to them. And the children has to bear this secret their whole life. But then they'll say, uh, why are you on these type of drugs like crystal meth and fentanyl, and Why are you? Well, hell, what that kind of pain that you put your child through? What do you mean? They're supposed to forget that shit, and you're mad at them because they snort powder or they have they're sexually imbalanced because they like to have a fuck ton of sex or they like these type of little, degenerate behaviors. It's because of what you put them through as a child. How could that not be the first thing that would come to your mind to get your child some help? Oh, you can't do that because the same doctor you would send them to is probably the same doctor that, just like the Olympic guy, that the Olympic doctor, the one that's in prison now for touching little girls, Olympic gymnast athletes in prison. They allowed it for a lot of years from I can remember, due to the fact of the girls that I used to love watching as a kid. That was Dominique Dawes, and then even the amazing Simone Biles. When all this shit came out uh, uh, about that coach, all this shit came out about watching these girls for all of these years, and the parents and the cover-ups and allowing to just push on, just go be the best that you can. That's how stealing children innocence, man. Stealing the innocence of children, and even stealing the lives and bloods and uh, dreams of children. Because even if you're alive and you're a child and you have to deal with that type of shit, can you imagine the psychological implications? Can you imagine of this and to keep suffering? I wonder why. I wonder why. Is that what you have in common? Is that something that you have in common with them with this administration? You think it's no big deal for children to be uh, annihilated and destroyed? I don't know. I just think it's fucking horrible, personally. So let's talk about physical sex. Now, physical sex is great, but it has to be agreed upon. Seriously, it has to be agreed upon. If it's not agreed upon, that's sexual assault. There's no such thing as saying, she wanted it and all of that. That's no such thing. That's no such thing. You know. First of all, if a woman is walking around and she's got some skimpy on, that's her body, is her. You got eyes you can see, but you can't touch, buddy, unless she wants you to. It's not your job to go up and smack her on the ass. She's not a. If you in the street, she's not a hooker. She's not a stripper. She may like her own body. So it's for you to look, not fondle, unless she wants you to. So I've seen a lot of dudes when they were younger smack girls on the ass and get shit smacked out of them too. And everybody laughed, but that's kept doing that shit. And then he took it too far with a girl. And now he's in prison because he took something from a girl, something precious to her because it belonged to her. He took sex from her. I don't know how to phrase that, but he sexually assaulted the girl. Wound up hurting the girl real bad. And luckily, he was shanked in prison. Yeah, he was shanked in prison. I think that's justice. I mean, if he proven guilty, some people don't think that's justice, but yeah, that's how I feel. I don't subscribe to violating or hurting anyone, especially women and children. But that's just sex. Sex is to me, sexual is extremely. Um, it's something that's around us every day. We don't discuss a lot. A lot of people act as if we have these sexual thoughts and aspirations, but they always should be associated with a sort of civilized perspective when it comes to dealing and consulting and pairing with people, communicating with people, and even uh, making it fun. Keeping sex sort of sacred between us with some trust. Valuing yourself first, because that's how we clean up these sexual deviances. We can't participate, but you also have to value yourself. And like I say, you got to be careful with your energy, and you have to be honest. I've heard some horror stories of women that hell I couldn't sleep with because of who they slept with. You know what I'm saying? When I was single, a lady, good looking young lady, beautiful, but she was very sexually free. But I asked her one very, very important question that I'm very happy I asked her. I asked her, have you ever slept with a man that sleep with men? And she said she had. I said, we cannot be together. But I'm so happy that she was honest with me. I was extremely, extremely happy with that honesty because I couldn't be with her sexually after she had been with a man that likes or has dealt with men. That was my decision, and that's I felt like I know that was the right decision for me because the energy exchanges and things of that nature. So y'all be careful, men and women, about who you lay with, because I know for women that means a hell of a lot to you, and it should. Excuse me. It should mean a hell of a lot to you. It should mean everything to you. It really, really should, about who you allow into your temple, who you allow to, that's we go in women, men go into women. So they're sexually vulnerable to us. So off the top, honesty should be at the top of your head, because if it's not, and you give that lady and you're distributing sexually transmitted disease to her, that's a crime. And women, same ordeal. That's back to sex as a weapon. So, physical sex is a very vulnerable, fragile exchange that we all play a part in. Not me, I'm married. Married people don't play a part in y'all little cesspool out here. But anyway, some people do. I just lied. Yeah, some married people they still don't know they're married, or they still like to play around and dibble and dab, and some even married people dibble and dab with each other. So there is definitely a physical sexual exchange amongst humans that should be held to a higher level, due to of how fragile the exchange is amongst one another. That's it's the same thing as being clean, washing your ass every day. You know, being careful with who you exchange with. You don't walk around kissing every motherfucking body, do you? You know what I'm saying? So it's the same casual exchanges that you would do with anything and anybody that you don't damn know. You get to know a person before you exchange with them. You know what I'm saying? So, but a lot of people have risked their lives, and that shit has cost them. It's cost them by being irresponsible with their bodies, not loving themselves, catching diseases, getting these type of fucking. And then some of this shit you can't even name, and you damn sure can't get rid of it either. So they got medicines for some things, and well, that's not true. If you get the right medicines and the right person, but why would you want to put yourself through this shit anyway? I mean, I wouldn't. But it's a dangerous game to play when you play on Russian roulette with your body, your soul, who you're exchanging with, and who you letting up in you. Both ways, man. I'm just telling you, man. Um, you ever wonder why your mood changes? You ever wonder why, some women that focuses or functions on the devaluing of themselves equation. They call them whores. But hey, I try to be nice. The thing is, everything that look good ain't good. And that cottage cheese running up out your ass, you might want to get that checked. Uh, so, men, you're a big, 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 big problem in this equation when it comes to physical sex. Biggest liars too. You a big problem. Big fucking problem. First of all, some of you guys like guys, and you should admit that and play in your own goddamn world. Um, but also some of you married guys. Marry both of them if they would have it. But if you want, hey man, stay with your wife, build something, grow something together, build a business, or just get a divorce. If you can't put up with each other no longer, just be single, but be responsible. That's all I'm saying. I'm not telling people how to live their lives or how to be sexually involved or how to do whatever. Be responsible. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just asking you to be responsible because you put a lot of people's lives in danger, including your own. So let's get to mental sex. Oh, mental sex is that's always been like probably the most um practiced form of sex throughout mankind. Mental sex. I can't tell you how many people, you know, how many shows has been about mental sex. They're all they're all there. Like if you want to think about any aspects of how sex is used as this mental apparatus, if it's in TV, it's in entertainment, it's in every movie. You even have to watch these kid movies and how they practice these mental sexual waves that they try to, Disney's really big on mental sex. Shapes and the way they draw cartoons and those subliminal images that make you comfortable. You think, oh, here we go. Oh, okay. Or to make you think or operate a certain way. So you have to mental sex is a very real, very strong tool that is used on the young and the naive. So be very aware of these mental sexual apparatuses. Like I tell you, they're all around you. They're just extremely subliminal. Magazines, movies, commercials, your favorite TV show. Even if you think the motherfucker innocent, just think about it. Think about the way these people exchange, and also the words and verbiage that they use. And everything you think about, you think of knowing that you ever thought about, that you will understand everything has to do with, they make it have to do with some type of mental, sexual, deviant infusion. They try to make it comfortable. Excuse me. But there's the next whip moment. Emotional sex. Emotional sex is you got to watch how people communicate, how they talk, and the way they put words together when it comes to, people that are very inappropriate. Very big of the reason, even in corporate America, was extremely big thing when it came to people, the way they talk to each other on the job. And using words like it was very prevalent with white men and talking to black ladies. Whew. Oh man, I was on a fiery end of a conversation. I won't tell you it was at work, but I think the older white man had used the term gal. Oh shit. Woo! Boy, I tell you, did he pay for that shit? I won't say what was said, but he was she the lady particularly took off in his ass. Wore him out real good. Yes, indeed. Wore him out. Anyway, back to emotional sex. You what you want to do in practice with emotional sex, you want to do that with your lady. And ladies, you want to do that with your husband, with your man. See, emotional sex is how you communicate with each other all the time. The way you phrase, the way you say things that could be, it's just thinking about and being aware of how you communicate, how you answer, or how you ask. How are you being considerate? Those things matter, especially when it comes to, your closeness throughout the day, how the way you want your night to end, what you want to talk about, uh, what you want to watch on TV. All of these things matter when it comes to emotional sex because you want to set that tone, you know. And for you single people, how y'all communicate? Y'all like to text a lot. Y'all like to do that shit on text. But putting a little thought into it, and y'all like these damn emojis. Use some goddamn words. Use some words. Express yourself. And when you're on the phone with each other, y'all do y'all thing, man. But emotional sex is extremely important. Everything ain't got to be nasty, but it can be crafty. I got to work on this shit myself. I'm good with words. So I'm very crafty, but I can be better. So how you exchange and communicate, and also comfortability, being comfortable. Yeah, comfortable. Emotional sex involves comfort, and how to really bring the level of comfort out in each other so that you can feel freer to be freakier. Shit. Emotional sex is very important. It's it's another one of those delicacies. It's very fragile because that shit can be up in a second. You be all in the mood, everything be good, then the light go off. Oh, like damn, oh no, no, no. Oh, it is off, it's off. Oh, when that switch is off, it's off. God damn it, you ruined it. So it's delicate. You gotta when you walking, when y'all walking, you know it's about to go down, and you communicating, and you already know how she talking to you that day, and how that conversation is heating up. Don't ruin it. Stay in the moment. Just stay in the moment. That's what make it easy. Just stay in the moment because it's very delicate. Don't say the wrong shit and turn that light off. Then it's over. Anyway, this is the last whip moment for the night. It's called personal love. Personal love. That's how you pretty much get everything you want when it comes to sex. How you groom yourself, how you hygiene, how you present yourself, your confidence. Most importantly, that's the most important one. That damn confidence. Confidence exudes sex. Confidence. Confidence in yourself. Confidence. Of course, everything, all of the other elements come with it, but also that's attractive is intelligence. A person that knowing what they're doing, how they're getting there. The advice that you give, how smooth you operate, your swag. All of those things go together when it comes to, you know, that personal love equation. Is how much time and energy and effort you put into what you're going to give somebody else. That's how they know. That's how women know if when men, partake into different sciences and off-duty practices of, some people are painters, some people are musicians, some people are authors, podcasters. Some people are, they have different interests. Some people love bird watching or photography, real estate, particular interest that they do or that they strive to do some people have some things that are very uplifting because it gives them confidence. It lets them know they can operate outside of just their job title. See, a job title is it's just a skill set nonetheless. It's not an identity. It is not an identity. I think a lot of people where they go wrong when it comes to personal love is they put all this time, energy, efforts into schooling and learning, and which is great. It's going to get you some money, but are you going to have any personality? Have you ever built any self-interest? Do you have Anything else that you go on besides what you do for a job? Is that why you're so uptight and can't even enjoy sex? Personal love has to do with the ability to free your mind, to enjoy, to appreciate something special. But you can't get it like that with everybody. You can't spread yourself thin. Unfortunately, some people do spread themselves thin, and they exude and they attract and they get all the sex they want. But sex is something that when you're doing it right, you kind of like it with the person that you like it with. Everybody's not a freak. Some people are. I ain't shitting on nobody. But personal love really does dictate how you spread yourself and who you give yourself to. That's both male and female. You know, you take a little away from yourself when you spread yourself thin. When I was a young man, I sold my royal oats. I was young. I did my thing. But you have to evolve as a man. You have to get older. You got to put something else on your mind other than like some cats my age. They still want to be fucking with these girls out here and seeing that they got it. You got to evolve. You have to do something else with your brain. You got to, if you have something to learn it. They say you should learn something new every day. And some of y'all just want a sexual position or something. Oh, I kid. Hell, we talking about sex. Don't loosen up, shit. Um, but anyway, yeah, the world does revolve around sex, but don't allow it to control you or run every single aspect of your life. You know, you can waste a lot of time being a pervert. You can waste a lot of time scrolling through your phone looking at asses. You can waste a lot of time just being consumed and not being productive. Don't kill all your time trying to pursue something that will ruin your thought process. Shit, some of you, if you think about sex and love sex and must go into the industry and make some money doing the shit. Hell, if it's that much important to you. But for the regular common folk, you know, learning how to learn things about yourself, the interworkings of yourself, and how to break those certain coping mechanisms, because sex is very big or as a coping mechanism too, and a healing mechanism. But all things shall be done and for the good of yourself and to man. So you can pervert anything. You can really bring a lot of harm to yourself if you're not practicing the proper elements of how to perform those acts. It's extremely important, man. You got to educate your children. You know, like I say, start talking to them about. First of all, start with personal love. I would say start with personal love and how much they value themselves. Start with personal love. That's extremely important when raising these young girls and young boys out here. Their confidence is everything. You know, how they're going to be, how they're going to move and operate when they get older. That confidence and that awareness. Pairing with their education and how far they want to excel. With their studies. And, you just keep those things in mind because when you're raising these kids, sometimes people want to leave some things out or think they can mask it or cover it up or say, well, I'll just wait. No, you have to address it when you see it. That way, when that child is 10, 11, 12, and in those age ranges, they're very cognizant of what's happening and they can actually save their own lives by telling your daughters and your children, watch out for strangers. Don't talk to strangers. Don't take candy. Those type of things. That's how we was raised. That's how we grew up. Don't do that. Don't be that. Don't be that. Don't be that parent and don't be that parent and child. Go the extra mile to take care of those children, especially because Sexual trafficking is at all-time high. It hasn't stopped. It has enhanced. You got even people, supposedly decent people that are paid healthy wages to hide children. And you know what their excuse is? I don't care. I don't know these people. I'm just gonna take the money. That's cold-blooded and that's heartless. Practice a higher grade of humanity, please, man. I mean, it's bad enough you got sexual demons and sexual predators and sexual um, um, manipulators out here. Let's just do a better job at treating each other as this is a person. Remember, this is a person you're exchanging with now. You're sharing a connection with. Keep that in mind. Don't spread yourself too thin. But that's the show tonight, y'all. So yeah, that's the Let's Talk About Sex show. I hope you are edutained. I hope you learned something. I hope you was able to take something with you. I hope this has enhanced your mindset when it comes to how to conduct yourself with sex and how to appreciate the value of the ability of having sex and how to be responsible with sex. But check it out. That's the show tonight. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in. This Will is podcast. So say it with me. Come on. The will is yours. Take care. Be responsible, and honor your body, man. Take care of yourself. Practice some personal love. It'll serve you some good returns. All right. So check it out. If y'all want more of the show, you're gonna meet me on TikTok. I might go on TikTok. I'm not sure. It's 9:00. I got to get to work in the morning. I got a long week. May or may not. But I hope you loved and appreciated the show. Once again, subscribe to the Willis Podcast. Subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button. Also, leave me your comments. I want to know what you thought about the show tonight. Leave me your comments. Please leave me your comments. But subscribe, share, and let's keep the momentum going with the Willis Podcast. Let's get us monetized, Pivotal. I like y'all watching the show real time. It's pretty cool. But anyway, thank you guys. That's the show. Make sure you watch the long version of the show. I appreciate you.